to episode 6 of Building Confidence series. If you are already getting so much value from this series, please consider subscribing. Click the red subscribe button below. And hey, if you're new here, if you don't know me yet, my name is Rhea, and in this channel we're all about career, BPO tips, and work-life balance. And in today's video, we are going to talk about how to build your self-confidence, or how to be confident when you are speaking with your customers over the phone. When you are confident over the phone, that will also translate to your competence. That means that when your customer hears that you sound confident, they will also think that they have reached the right person who can help them resolve their concerns. So let's dive right into the first tip for you to be confident when speaking with your customers. The most important thing is for you to study your material, or for you to be familiar with your products and services. There is a training for a reason, but 1 month, 2 months may not be enough for you to gain everything. And that's normal in most call centers, because you will never really learn everything in the classroom. You will start learning everything once you are already on the floor taking calls. So since you're a subject matter expert, when a customer asks you about a product or a service, or how to resolve a certain scenario, you should be able to answer confidently, and you will only be able to do that if you know what you're talking about. Nobody can be confident when he or she does not know the topic, right? If you don't know anything about politics, how can you talk confidently about politics? So same with you as a subject matter expert. So as much as possible, you have to learn as much as you can. And the thing with this is that even though you have the best training, you are the best when it comes to product knowledge, there are still some unique call types that you haven't heard of before. That's why they're called unique. So these scenarios may be new to you and you don't know how to resolve them yet. The best way to still remain confident is to know where to find the answer. So even though you don't know the answer yet, at least you know where to find them. May it be your product knowledge base, your job aids. Know how to contact your trainer or your supervisor when they are not around, because you cannot keep the customer waiting for such a long time. And it is better to know where to find the answer rather than just blurt out the answer right away, even though it is incorrect. Which leads me to my next tip, which is to prepare your elevator responses. These are responses that you have already scripted beforehand to reply to the customer if you don't know the answer yet. So for example, the customer asks, how much is the fee for this package? And since there are so many fees, you will not be able to memorize everything. You have to take a look at it on your knowledge base. So instead of saying, I think it's $12.99. So you definitely did not sound confident that way because of the I think and So you have to make sure you got the right answer first before you say it to your customer. So what I always tell my customer is that, actually, that's a very good question to ask. I will make sure to get you the right information. I will look at our resources and I'll get back to you quickly as soon as I have the correct information. Or that might be a very long script for you. You can tweak it. I always say seconds instead of minutes most of the time because it sounds quicker. When you say 1 to 2 minutes, it sounds really, really long. But when you say 30 seconds, it's very quick because it's seconds only. To be able to succeed with that elevator response without dead air, you should already have that in your head, memorized. If there's something that you have to memorize, because I don't suggest you memorize everything so that you don't sound robotic or scripted, then memorize your elevator responses, or those responses that you will blurt out to the customer if you don't know the answer yet. Sometimes you get awkward with silence, even just short silence. It's important that you tell your customer, set expectations about what you're doing on the phone. And then after that, you can get silent. Don't just be silent without leaving anything to your customer, without leaving a response or anything. So what I usually say is that, Mr. Smith, I just need 60 seconds to check on my resources and to give you the right information. I will just be silent over here. I will be with you on the phone, and just let me know if you have any questions. And then you go silent. So there, you have asked permission and the customer is just there. You did not leave the customer. You did not put him or her on hold. Everything is okay. You will have the concentration that you need to search for the answers. And the next thing is breathe. Because if you don't, you might choke. Actually, breathing is a very effective way for you to improve your muscle, for you to relax your muscles. Okay? So from time to time, don't forget to breathe. Even though it's an irate customer, try to breathe. Just put yourself on mute quickly and okay, inhale. Simple as that. Sit properly. Your posture is everything. Aside from breathing, your posture when you're working is actually very helpful. So let's say your chair is like this in the office, which is highly impossible unless you're the boss, but I'd love to have this chair in the office. So most of the time, you will work like this. It affects your confidence. I know it can be tiring to sit like this, but it really brings out the confidence in you. So when you have the right posture, when you speak with your customer over the phone, then you will sound more confident, even though you're not very confident yet. And eventually, when you get used to using that posture, you will also be able to build and boost your self-confidence along the way. If you're allowed to stand, I think you will be allowed to stand from time to time. If let's say you're tired of sitting, you can stand, and that way you will also be able to project your voice even better. If posture is everything, tone is everythinger. I just made up that word. But tone is even more important because obviously it is a phone conversation. There is a barrier aside from the physical barrier. There can also be a language barrier, signal barrier, communication barrier. So your tone will matter because it can make or break a communication. It can even cause a communication breakdown if you're not speaking at the right tone of voice. So even though your customer is a little bit irate, a little bit sarcastic, just be level-headed and you do you. The usual polite you and the usual kind you. Kill them with kindness. And you know how that builds your self-confidence? That means that you are able to control yourself in situations wherein your customers are acting up. And it's good because eventually you will get used to being comfortable, you'll get used to being polite, you'll get used to being calm and patient even though your customers are not. And you come off as more confident that way. Next thing, I also personally try to imagine a figure or someone I know when someone is calling. Like when you don't know how to deal with a certain customer, you will hear the tone of voice at the beginning of the call. Most likely, you will be able to determine whether the customer is an elderly, a youngster, middle-aged, professional, or whatever, kind, nice, sarcastic, or irate. At the beginning, you have to try to figure out who this person is in your life. For example, you're speaking with an elderly person on the phone. How do you speak with an elderly person? Your grandfather, your grandmother. Of course, you deal with them politely and nicely. So just think that you're speaking with that person in your life that you know. Dress up for work. Back in my previous office, we were allowed to just wear jeans, sandals, and even just plain t-shirts. But in other companies, you might not be allowed to wear basic stuff. You need to wear smart casual or business casual. It depends on the company. But if you're in a company where they will just allow you to wear jeans and t-shirt, try to dress up a little bit more. And what I'm trying to say is that try to look like you are actually going to the office, because sometimes, like in my case, I dressed up depending on my mood. When I was an agent and I wasn't in the mood to take calls, it was almost like I would wear pajamas or shirts at work. So it also affects your confidence level. Just like what they say, you have to dress the part that you like. You have to dress who you want to be. So even though the rest of the people around you are just wearing jeans and t-shirt, then you can wear smart casual. You can wear a dress, you can wear a collared shirt, you can wear heels if you like. And in general, just dress up nicely, because that will also make you feel more confident when you are taking calls, because you are dressing the part. It will feel like you are really working for real and you're not just slouching at home, right? If you want to learn more about job application and call center interview tips, I have more videos about that. You can just check them out here, and I'll see you again on my next video. Thank you so much. Take care.